All right, we are live now.
Hi.
Hi. Hey, everybody with Optimize. It's Stephanie,
And Kitty.
and we just wanted to jump on and do a quick little video because we know some people are struggling a little bit in how to come up with the overall goal. From the goal, then have your conclusions based on the energies for the new moon, and then come up with your intentions. So we thought we'd just do a quick little video for now and the future. We're going to focus on this December Sagittarius and new moon because that's where we are right now. And Kitty and I thought we would just tell a little bit of how we do it. Kitty, I'm
And
going to
that
let
way, yeah, that way it helps us streamline a little bit.
Mhm.
And it gives you a little practice. So wherever we start talking about Sagittarius and this new moon, if you're watching this at a different time, you can use whatever new moon it happens to be.
Right.
And one thing we wanted to start to say that as simple as this sounds, but this is kind of the jumping off point is your intentions are what you want in your life or what you feel you need in your life.
Mhm.
And so that's where you start without looking at moons and energies and what is it I want, need, desire that I want to manifest and create an intention for my life. And that's
And
a really key thing.
yeah,
So,
and honestly, it sounds like, yeah, it sounds, excuse me, it sounds really simple. And to be honest with you, before I started doing this, I'd like to go back and look at what I was doing prior to knowing anything about what sign the moon was in, because I think a lot of us intuitively already do it without knowing it
mhm.
around the
Yeah.
right energies.
Right, because we're led. And
Right.
that certainly is something that happens. Trust that intuition. So after you've kind of identified this is the area, this is kind of where I am in my life, your intuition leads you anyway. And because you have your basic moon and the house it's in and the sign it's in, that helps kind of set it up in the area that you kind of start and look at. It doesn't mean you can't do other areas, it just means that that's kind of the building block.
Right. Right. So today we had a little bit of a discussion in our breakout session, and that's what led to this. And as we grow, we're going to have more and more people in the breakout sessions, which means we won't have as much. We're not being able to get through all of the information. There's so much information. And to be able to do that with each individual every single time, we're trying to streamline that a little bit. But we found this morning, even with only 4 people, the struggle was, well, I don't even know what should my intentions be. So Kitty talked about how she has goals first
Mhm.
before she gets to her conclusions. So basically I do too. Like, what is it that I want? You just have to figure out what is it that you want, and then look at the energies and come together with your conclusion and then make your intentions. So Kitty, why don't you give an example of your process from the beginning to the end?
So I start with what is it in my life I overall kind of that umbrella want to look at. And it's for me prosperity, personal prosperity, whether that's abundance of money, friends, building, optimize, and IOTS, whatever it is, it's something about prospering, moving ahead. Then, because I know that that's kind of my overall arching piece, I go to my own moon. Now, my moon is in Leo in the eighth house. Leo is the sign that controls the sun. It's about the roar of who I am, even though this is my moon, my private energy. So I'm looking for things that make me roar. And since it's in the house of change, it's about changing myself, changing my peace, shifting whatever it is I need to create this personal prosperity. So from there, I now looked at areas when I'm looking at prosperity that I could be working on. One of them for me is my body health. It also has to do with Virgo and Pluto and a few other things. I also have Virgo on that eighth house, so they're kind of always working together, that moon and that Virgo. The other thing is in my personal relationships for me, my husband, it may end up being a son or down the road, who knows. But right now it's my husband and my what makes me want and my part of the relationship, because I can only change me. And of course, that's also because I'm talking about the sun, my center of self. The other is always an optimize and IOTS, what I'm trying to do, what I think is my higher purpose for being here. And then the other category that's kind of come up has been learning and spirit. And I kind of sometimes separate them a little bit, but put them together. My journey with spirit, the magic gifts my special sauce that I want to look at and create and change in that core of who I am. And so that means I know I'm going to be looking at beliefs and those kinds of things. And those are kind of the 4 or 5 areas that I sketch out to look at.
Mm-hmm.
Then I look at what is the energy of the month.
Mm-hmm.
So the energy of this month is Sagittarius, which is about truth and freedoms, and Jupiter,
Mm-hmm.
because Jupiter is part of that Sagittarius, the whole idea of the house, the sign, and the planet. And so my Jupiter is in Capricorn, which is structure. My Sagittarius is also my rising sign, so a little bit's always going to be about how I step in the world. But it's mainly on the house of bringing the unconscious to conscious, that idea of sacrifice, what's hidden, what's the house of secrets in its own ways, what am I need to bring forward. So I'm looking in those areas of what is it I need to bring forward, looking at beliefs, looking at the fact that I want to find these things that make me roar, letting go of things that are in my way, beliefs that are hidden in there that either block my prosperity, because I'm always talking about personal prosperity. Are they blocking in my relationships? Are they blocking in optimize an IOTS? Are they blocking in how I work with spirit? Am I blocking my health? But that's because I'm dealing with this Sagittarius energy, and I know this is about truth and freedom. And if I can move those into consciousness and pay attention to them, I can maybe look at moving ahead. So then I, of course, always tied them into changing something because of the Scorpio and the sun, this Leo and embers. And this is all fire for me. That's the other thing I look at my element. It's all fire. So this is all about the energies and how I'm moving and what I'm doing, because Sagittarius is fire and my moon is a fire sign. And it happens to be in a house of water. So there is emotion always in it. What's kind of boiling up, basically, is what it comes down to. And so what I do, Stephanie, is I write out in those areas things that I want, things that I'm not understanding. I'm really big on looking at my last intentions and what has been brought forth. I've usually made a list like this in this last one. I have to put my glasses on, folks. One of the things I really came to understand when I let go of my intentions and I looked at the forgiveness and the gratitude from this full moon was about calendar and scheduling, how much better I felt about my own life, looking at my other intentions. And one of the things I noted is that things come to me differently in different ways than I once thought I could possibly have dreamed. So I'm thinking about my intentions that I don't want to be, for me, so specific that I'm being prescriptive. I want to be able to pay attention to whatever those synchronicities that are teaching me about, because all of this is teaching me about my prosperity, because again, that was my overarching kind of thought.
Right.
And so what I do is I write all of it down, like under home and relationship. What did I notice for my intention this time? And then I write them out they don't make any sense. I write all kinds of small cryptic words. I look at what I'm dealing with. And then I, do the meditation, and then I open my eyes and reread it and write it in a more concise way so that when I'm meditating on it, I've got those sentences. And like, for an example, I realized in my home and my relationships, I am not, and again, we're talking about Sagittarius, so truth. I don't speak my truth, so I want to speak daily truth, openly communicate, and reflect what is brought up from my unconscious. Stop and just say, "This is what I'm thinking," and then let it go. I want to remove language barriers that I kind of micromanage. What comes up for me, just learn to say it, try to say it kindly, all those things, but just say it. So that's one of my intentions this month I'm setting forth to do.
Hmm. I love it. I love it.
So,
And so I have a little bit different from what I do, but I've kind of, after we've talked so much, I've kind of adapted a step that you do as well. And it helped me a lot because there was so much this month that it really started to overwhelm me even. And so what I did is obviously I know that I need to make some changes in my life because I'm also all about the eighth house and I'm all about relationships and partnerships. So even though my moon is Cancer in the sixth house of, nurturing home and family and systems and health and services, I'm always thinking about those relationships and partnerships and changing and transformation as well. So I'm always aspiring to be more inspirational as well and to learn more and to be able to learn more, to share more, to inspire more, to be more my authentic self, to um, inspire other people to be their authentic self. So that's something that I usually am thinking about. But then I adopted a little bit of what you said. So I have my goals of the things that I really would like to have in my life. But then I thought, okay, well, Kitty made it a little easier by setting some categories, if you will. So I kind of did that as well. So I always want to think about get spooky and optimize. I always want to think about myself personally, things to do with my family, those types of things. So then I started setting those categories. And then on top of that, I went in and looked at Sagittarius, Jupiter, and the houses, etc., for the collective and for myself. What helps me and why I always say the conclusion for me from my goals, then I have to come up with a conclusion for the month based on I write a couple words out of each of those energies that resonate with me at the time, write a bunch of those down, and from all of those words, I formulate a conclusion out of that. Okay, this month, they're really wanting me to look at X. And so with this month with Sagittarius, because it's in my 10th house of advancement, and because Jupiter is in my eighth house of transformation and change, with Libra of relationships and partnerships, and we said my Cancer moon in the sixth house. So I felt that I should concentrate on intentions that would help me build relationships and partnerships that will help me transform and change in my systems of what services I feel I need to do for my family and my friends and my home that's going to allow me to expand. What's keeping me from expanding and growing? And that's, to advance my soul purpose, which I feel like is a lot of inspiring others. So that's kind of how I came about it. But this time, travel, because Sag is about truths and freedoms, it's also about travel.
travel. Mm-hmm.
And I talk about it every year. I want to do these specific trips, but what's holding me back is my family, my home, my services, my responsibilities, my dog. All of these things are keeping me from doing these trips that I so want to do and talk about. So I made that my top intention is to find the right changes, the right relationships, the right partnerships, the right creative ways that I could alleviate the things that are blocking me, that are holding me tied to my home and my family so that I can feel okay to travel and experience. So that was my top one.
And then this, as we work on them, the other piece that really does become important is paying attention to what shows up. So for the collective right now, that might not be true when you're watching this, but the planet of Jupiter happens to be in Aquarius.
Very cool.
And that's going to be about epiphanies. So as I'm working on these intentions, I am aware that things may pop up kind of be like, oh, wow, wait a minute, that's, this, because I'm thinking about that Jupiter energy.
Right.
Um, and though it's many layered, it's really about what I want, who I am, and the skills and energies I can use to put it together. Start simple. Start with
Yeah.
the list of the words, and write out something. You're not going to manifest wrong, but
Right.
um,
Yeah.
and 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 always remember, this is always about nurturing because it's the moon. It's always
Always
about nurturing and being better. That is what the moon is about. Mother Moon.
stink bug.
Um, oh,
Yeah, I
now
know it was
see,
crawling
now
on
I'm
me.
going to be thinking stink bug. Why did that come in this? Hmm. There's an earth energy there. So
Right.
um, and that's the other piece. Overall, this is all about. It's not about a negative way we write it. It's about letting go, trying to nurture and grow. It's the mother energy is really what it
And
is.
if
The moon.
something comes to you, if an intention comes to you, or something that you really, really want, it just doesn't fall within the energies of the month, that's okay. That's
Hmm.
quite okay. You put that intention down anyway because you
And
cannot do it wrong.
and I bet somewhere in the 2 weeks you're going to go, oh wait a minute, that's blah blah blah,
Right.
because it's just the way it is. So our goal was to have you take a look at this, and we know it's not easy, but again, write it out, make lists of words. You know, don't have to make 8 intentions. Do 2 ones that you really want to work on. What can I visualize doing? You know, the one I used for you, home and relationship, I can visualize myself when I go to edit myself. I don't like fighting, I don't like snapping. I can visualize myself saying, I don't want to snap, and just saying what I need to say. So that's the kind of thing you want to make it so you can see yourself doing it.
Right. And it's
So,
not something you do in 5 minutes. It takes some time and a lot of thought.
mm-hmm. But you've gotten a lot of information in this last couple weeks that has been bringing your attention more and more to something. And we noticed that everybody today had automatically gone to this Sagittarius. They were looking for truth and looking at their beliefs because that's where we look at our own personal truths. So,
So we
anyway,
hope this helps you all. We just wanted to do a quick one. It's gone a little bit longer than quick because it's not really that quick.
right.
So, but we just wanted to give you some things that you could go back and listen to help you along your way of how to get to the end intentions. So,
So, all
hope
right,
you
we'll see you in the breakout sessions.
all right, bye.
Bye.